Thailand, formerly known as Siam, officially the Kingdom of Thailand, is a country located at the center of Indochina. The country adopted a constitutional monarchy government system headed by the King Rama IX since 1946 and a prime minister who is the head of the government and exercises effective political power. Current Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra from Pheu Thai Party or Party for Thais held the most seats on parliament now. The second strongest party in Thailand is the opposition party by Mr. Abhisit Prejjiva, the previous Prime Minister of Thailand from Democrat Party.
Thailand is one of countries which has an internal conflict in few years ago. This internal conflict began with a protest from a group of civilians. From April 11, 2009 until May 19, 2010. The protest against government was happened where the protesters attacked some cities in Thailand, but they more focused in Bangkok. This protest is between red-shirted protesters and Thailand's Prime Minister in that day.
The Red Shirts, also known as the United Front for Democracy Against Dictatorship, according to BBC News of 24th May 2010 and 13th of July 2012, they are the supporters of Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who was forced to resign in the 2006 military coup. The Red Shirt is considered as the rebel group and the opposers of the government that is under the control of Thaksin's major political enemy, Prime Minister Abhisit Prejjiva, who is also responsible for the 2006 unrest. The Red Shirts is funded mainly by the people who come from Thailand's rural north and northeast, which they benefited from populist policies that Mr. Thaksin funded during his 5 years in power. Not only that, the students, left-wing activities, and some business people who see attempts by the urban and military elite to control Thai politics as a threat to democracy are also the members of the Red Shirt.
According to David Williams and Kat Higgins, the red-shirted protesters are trying to mow down the government of Prime Minister Abhisit Prejjiva, who they believe came into power illegitimately. And based on BBC News, this is happened because Mr. Prejjiva became the next Prime Minister without calling elections. It shows that Thailand citizens want their Prime Minister was chosen by elections.
They deeply believe that Mr. Abhisit will be the root of the corruption of Thai democracy, which they're afraid it will destroy the basic human right and the freedom of the Thai people. The Red Shirts crisis created a significant growth in social media use of Thailand, particularly Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The purpose of attending these social medias are to communicate with other people both in Thailand and worldwide in order to get the newest update information about the protest incident or to seek for more supporters. According to the book edited by Philip Bake, a Red Shirt usually puts some anti-government posters on the wall to attack the government, which plan to earn more supporters for the Red Shirts around the world. Also, Thaksin Shinawatra himself, who arguably did more to position social media as a propaganda and some communication tool in Thailand than any others. Thaksin quickly built a vast Twitter network of more than 65,000 followers at the time of the crackdown, which is one of the largest and most politically charged Twitter community of Thailand and even the whole Asia that have formed it in such a short time. This is also known as Thaksin's Twitter revolution. An interesting fact is that both the Red Shirts leadership and Mr. Abhisit's government were both paying huge attention to what was being said online.
shirts is considered one of the most violent protests in Thai history, and is the war between the red shirts, which is a supporter of the ex-Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, and the government that is controlled by Thaksin's major leading enemy, Abhisit Vejjajiva. Today we invite two representatives from both sides. Now let's listen to their opinion of this incident, what they think.
Thank you for the opportunity. So here we are today as the red shirt protester, which is have been accused by the government as a terrorist. Otherwise, we are here actually to demand a democratic government for Thailand, our country, our lovely country. And the second thing is, you call it violence, and it started from the government. They set a live fire zone, which is force to force and oppress us by using automatic weapons. They will shoot you outside when you enter that site. It is unfair for us. We are just a usual citizens. They are the government. They use their automatic weapon as their power. And also, when they shoot us, no paramedics or medical help are allowed to enter to our camp to help the injured citizens. Hence, no radio and mobile signal were available during our protest. They cut off our communication from us to the international world. We just want to let international world to know what is really happening in Thailand. And in conclusion, we conclude that we were being oppressed by the government using military force which is not equal, and also which the military and the army, the troops, everyone should be protecting us as their citizens. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, the representative of government, do you think everything that he says is right?
Thank you for the opportunity. And I'm Wilson, and I'm the representative for the government, and this is the government's answer. The tragedy is not started from us. The protesters did something bad, did something violent. They mobbed the shopping malls, even they mobbed the stock exchange, which is vital for our country. The live fire zone is because they threw something like Molotov, grenade, they burn the tires in the road. It's very dangerous. It can kill even their own civilian. So we make the live fire zone to keep our country safe. Our Prime Minister, Mr. Vejjajiva, he said that he will give a five-point of plan for the reconciliation. It means to get a peace from you. We want to stop this tragedy. We want to stop this protest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you too. So now, there is another question for you guys. Okay, so in this modern society, freedom of the people is a really important element of life. So therefore, the human right cannot be neglected. So how the human rights issue to do with Thai protest incident? The racial side, what do you think?
So what we think about the human rights during the protest is our human right has been violated by the government. Setting a live fire zone to save a country is an illogical way. Why? You set a live fire zone and every citizen that go through that place, you will shoot it directly. It is the way you try to kill the citizens that against you. You should not kill them. They are there to against you to make your country become better. And what is happening is the shooting.
The protester, in one of the moment, they threw the grenade to our troops. So we try to keep the situation better.
Yes, I understand. But the shooting of what the army done to us, causing a death of almost 100 people and 1,885 people injured, including women, children, and also a paramedic.
Wait. Could you repeat the number? How many people died?
almost 100 people died and 1,885 people injured. And then, how can the troops start killing us? Is they got the permission from the government itself to start shooting us as the citizens. So therefore, I can conclude that they try to kill us in a very violent way. Also, when they talk about reconciliation, the talk about reconciliation and a democratic election actually have been abandoned, and we can consider that the talk of reconciliation and election is just a strategy and a way for Abhijit Vejjiva political future. Therefore, in conclusion, I need to stress once more that our human rights have been violated by the government. We were not given an opportunity to give our aspirations, and even worse, we were being killed by them. Also, the reconciliation and election things just a dream for us. It is not real. It is just a strategy from Mr. Abhijit Vejjiva's side. Thank you.
Okay. So is the governor have something else to say to respond for that?
Here's the answer from us. Mr. Abhijit through his spokesperson tells that we will try to enforce law with minimal losses, and we will try to find a political resolution, but it takes time, patience, and cooperation. In this conflict, the protester, the civilian, and us, the government, has no any cooperation, has no any teamwork to make our country better. And Mr. Vejjiva said, we cannot leave the country in the hands of armed groups. They use a grenade, they use a Molotov, they use anything to attack us.
Interruption. We were just trying to defend our rights to express our aspirations. You are using an automatic weapon shooting us. Therefore, in some several circumstances, our people are trying to defend their life by throwing things like Molotov bomb and things like that. So it is not our way to grow the country. It is just our way to defend rights to express aspirations. Thanks.
Okay, I know they want to explain the aspiration. That's good. That's good for support our country. But they can do protest better. They can do protest without violence, peacefully. And in conclusion, it shows that the protester did something violence to explain their aspiration. If they didn't do like that, we will not attack them like we do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you too. So now here comes to a conclusion. So one side want democracy, one side just want a harmony country. Which side is the right one? Which side is the right way?